Resolutions are my thing, and I like them. Goals, I make lists, I check them off. So since 13, I'm currently 38, I have always had a weight loss goal. And ridiculous, how is that possible? We are looking at purchasing something. What can we get rid of too? I feel like this is a really difficult time in marriage when how many people decide to go on a diet in January. It's kind of crazy. Hello there and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you have joined me today because today I am going to talk to you about my 2023 New Year's resolutions. I am someone who is extremely goal-oriented. I love goals, I make lists, I check them off. It's like one of my love languages. I love it, love it, love it. So every year when it's like New Year's resolution time, I pull out my old list, I see what I've done, what I've accomplished, what goals have been quite good for me, which goals were a little bit less good, and how I can improve my goal making abilities this year, or which goals can I improve on in the following year. Just to let you know, I have my master's in management, and something that they really sort of ingrained in our brain was SMART goals. So they're specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and timely. So all of these SMART goals, like all of my resolutions, goals are within that kind of framework of a SMART goal. I don't know, it's like one of the few things that I use on a day-to-day basis from university. So, you know, I just thought I would mention that these goals, I tend to be SMART goals, especially like the measurable part, because I feel like if you have a goal like I'm gonna lose weight, then like how do you define that? Like how much weight, in what period of time, how are you gonna do it, etc., etc. So it goes like a long ways. But on that topic, because I feel like that's one of the most popular New Year's resolutions, is like I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna lose 10 kilos or 10 pounds or whatever the case may be. This is the first time since I can remember, which makes me really sad because I've been making New Year's resolutions since I was like 13. So since 13, I am currently 38, I have always had a weight loss goal. And that's just like, I don't know, looking back in hindsight, I'm like, that's just so ridiculous. How is that possible? So this year there's nothing weight related in my goals. I just want to be a happy, healthy human being. And I feel like these resolutions, these goals are gonna let me be that way, get to that point. So one of the first things, one of my first resolutions is sort of to do with motherhood, and something that we tried doing last year. I had a really hard time measuring it. So this year I have the same goal. It's 1,000 hours outside with my kids, with my kiddos. And the way I'm gonna measure it is I'm just gonna take a picture every time we're outside and add the hours on. So like right now we're a few days into the new year, we're at like 6 hours out of 1,000. So I take a picture, 6 out of 1,000. We go out the next day, we're there for an hour, 7 out of 1,000, etc., etc. So that's how I'm gonna measure it. I feel like it's an attainable goal, like maybe a little bit harder because we are in a climate that's cold, so we don't always want to go outside, but I feel like it's attainable, it's doable. There's a lot of benefits for playing with your kids outside. There's a great Instagram account I follow called like 1,000 Hours Outside or something like that. And I read some of the studies that she showcased there, and I thought, you know what, this is something that I want to do for my family because I feel like that's missing. So I started it last year. We were doing it more, and I guess one of the reasons why I like resolutions and goals written down on a piece of paper, your mind kind of goes back to that time. And that's why I'm so happy that, like, I wrote it down last year, I think mid-year last year. I didn't follow through with the measurable part, but I can build on it this year and have this resolution, 1,000 hours outside, this goal, and we're up and running already. One of the things that I also have has to do with my YouTube channel. This one, I also have a YouTube channel in Polish and an Instagram account and TikTok. So I sort of set like a numerical goal. So 40,000 subscribers on my Polish channel. This channel, I feel like I want to monetize it. And then my Instagram account, 25,000 followers, TikTok, 40,000. But within these numbers, I have sort of structured a breakdown of how I'm going to achieve this goal. So this is how it becomes more attainable to me. So I can add, you know, like with Instagram, this is the type of content I can produce. I know that this content does well, so this is how I can do it. With TikTok, TikToks is kind of like a, you know, content pit. So the more you add into it, the better you do, etc. So again, I've created strategies with how to achieve these goals. Make sure that you do that. One way that actually you can help me by reaching my YouTube goals, etc., is sharing my content, commenting, liking. I always say thank you, like, very much for doing that, because it's like a personal high five to me. I also see what content you like and what content I can, you know, like recreate or you know, put my own spin on it, because then I see that's the content that you're sharing, you're commenting on, you're liking, and that's the content that you want to see. So that totally helps me out, or any content creator out, really. So thank you for doing that. Talking about TikTok, something that I definitely want to try out this year and is a resolution of mine is I want to try the 75-day soft challenge and the 75-day hard challenge. The hard challenge I'll probably do after my vacation, like in between vacations or something, because it sounds a little bit hard. It feels like you have to really push yourself to do it. But again, I feel because it's 75 days, it's like good to have an end date in mind. And what it is essentially is like 45-minute workout for the soft one. The hard one is like 2 45-minute workouts, which is a little bit time consuming. So that would take a little bit more planning. 10 pages in a book, no alcohol, like other things like that. Google it if you want to know all the details precisely. But I've even within my year, I've thought about when I can start these certain challenges that would make it less likely for me to fail. And fail, I feel like, is a very strong word. Like, if I just try is in my resolutions. Just try it. I just want to try it, see if I can do it. Like I said, I love some goals, so this would definitely, you know, help. With that in mind, I'm not sure if you know this about me, but about 8-9 years ago, I ran a marathon, and at that point I said I will never run another marathon again. It was a wonderful experience, but it was like off my bucket list. Did it, I don't need to do it again. I feel like it's not great for my knees, like, but other people who do it all the time, like, bravo. It is a feat. Training for it is a feat, etc., etc. But I remember training for the marathon and like the starting out of training, and I really enjoy running. That's something that I completely enjoy doing. And I don't know, it's been really difficult since I've had my kids to get back on that horse. Like, I don't know what, I feel like this internal block is blocking me from running. I started a few months ago doing 10,000 steps a day, which is in my goals as well. But I haven't been able to like burst through that barrier of running. So what I've decided to do this year in 2023 is sign myself up for a 10K race. I feel like that's a good goal, and an additional part of that goal is to run it with under 10 not under 10 minutes, that's crazy, under 1 hour. So do a 10K under an hour. I feel like that's doable, achievable. I used to be able to do it. Not much is stopping me now. Instead of doing my 10,000 steps walking, I could do that, like allocate that hour, because it takes about an hour for me to do, is to run that, you know, run for that hour, and I would be able to get my training in, etc., etc. So that is an idea that I've had, a goal that I have, and I will be doing that shortly, is setting up, finding a 10K in my area where I would be able to do this. Another thing that is on my to-do list of resolutions, of goals, is 10,000 steps a day. I talked about that. And this one is kind of interesting. It is have a rule of 1 item in and 1 item out. So if I purchase anything for my kitchen, I have to get rid of something in my kitchen. If I purchase a new sweater, then I have to get rid of 1 thing in my closet. New pair of shoes, get rid of an old pair of shoes. New towel, out goes an old towel, etc. So I want to help declutter my space, declutter my mind, be more mindful about my shopping habits, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's on sale, it's so good, and then I wear it once and then I don't love it, and I want to make myself to be a more mindful consumer of things that I might not necessarily need for my family. And I thought that this would be a good mindset to have when you're looking at a sale and like you find a great sweater and you love this sweater. Buy the sweater, but think about like, okay, which sweater will I need to get rid of to make room in my life for this new one? So like, is there a sweater that I'm not wearing, I'm not using, that I could get rid of? Do you know what I mean? And this goes with everything. I feel like our house is fully furnished, so we don't need anything outside of what we already have. So if we are looking at purchasing something, what can we get rid of to make room for this new product, new thing that we'll love just as much as the old one, but maybe we're not using the old one. I hope that makes sense. I want to continue this with toys for my kids. I want to continue with this with clothes, toys, appliances, anything that we purchase within the house for this year, and I want to see how good I am about doing that. Okay, one of the other things that I would like to focus on this year is my relationship with my husband. Because we have two small kids, Matilda's 5, almost 6, Emma's almost 3, I feel like we've put our relationship a little bit on the back burner because we're so focused on our kids. Like very often when we go out for dinner, we talk about our kids. In the evenings, we talk about what we do the next day, and like we don't have any time where we talk about not kid stuff or like not work stuff. And that makes me a little bit sad to think about because, you know, before we had kids, we had each other, and like eventually your kids are going to leave and live their own lives, and then me and my husband are going to be together stuck, and like we might not know each other anymore. Do you know what I mean? So I really want to focus on our relationship. I recently saw an interview with Michelle Obama, and she talked about like not liking Barack Obama for like 10 years of their marriage when they had young kids, and it just sort of really got me into thinking about how, I don't know, how important this should be and is. And I also think about like, I don't know my husband's love language. I don't know if you've read the book, like the top 5 love, or like the 5 love languages or something like that. I read it and I realized then that like my love language is a little bit of gifting, but it's mostly like doing things for other people. So for example, like when I make my husband dinner, and that's me telling him I love him without telling him I love him. And some people need like affirmations of love by saying like I love you, or some people need like touch, and just people need different things. And I realized I don't really know what my husband's love language is, and that made me a little bit like sad. And again, because my love language is like when people do something for me, when he makes me tea at night, and he does this almost every night. I always have to ask him though, but he always, very like 99% of the time he does it. He makes me a cup of like sleepy time tea, which I love, and whenever he brings it to me, I'm like so grateful and like a little bit more in love with him, and because that's my love language. So that's something that I want to work on. I just, if you are in a relationship, like, you know, you have a partner, I feel like this is a really difficult time in marriage when you have very young kids. You're also, you know, you have your career, you're focused on other things. It's really easy to put each other in the back burner, and I kind of want to push us up to the front burner and focus on that. As you can see, I'm like, I still have my paper here going. In terms of also travel, I've had this goal for years, I think for 8 or 9 years, and I write it on a piece of paper every single year. Even if I don't do, this is a long list this year, just because I took the time to sort of look inside and see and build on like last year's goals, etc. And last year's resolutions. But every single year for the last 8 years on a piece of paper, I even have this piece of paper in my wallet. It's 3 new places in the world, to travel to 3 new places in the world. Now, it can be a different like city within Poland, because I'm currently living in Poland, or we're also going to be going to Florida soon to visit to visit family. And we've been to Florida a few times, but I'm like, okay, even one new city around Florida that we've never been to, or like just one new place. And my goal every single year is 3 new places in the world. And so far in the last 8 years, it's been done, except for one of the years because there was we weren't able to travel at that time. So I was just, this is one of my favorite goals. I'm constantly thinking about it. I think that's the best part about having them written down on a piece of paper. Every once in a blue moon, I go back, look at them, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about this one. I should work on this one, etc., etc. So it just sort of brings you back to what you're most like passionate about, what you love doing. And travel is like part of my core, part of my being. So traveling to 3 new places in the world is something that is super, super important to me. Another thing that's important to me in terms of travel, there's also the other side of it, because travel most of the time costs money, is putting away money into our savings account. So this is a tough one. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if I should be talking about this, because I feel like more and more people are in a situation where they're not able to save money. Like times are tough. And really, believe me when I say, like 2-3 years ago, it was easier for me and my husband to save money. We also had like, one less kid, but in general, like it was easier for us to save money. We weren't as budget conscious as we are now. Like if we would go out for dinner, we'd be like, oh yeah, this restaurant. And now we look at the we really look at the prices. Obviously we weren't going to like Michelin star restaurants, but do you know what I mean? Like we're just much more sensitive to money. And I feel like many families are struggling to meet, to make ends meet. And I'm really sorry if that's something that you're going through. I do not want you to be triggered by this at all, but one of my goals, so that we don't have this issue in the future, or like if anything happens, we're able to have this nest egg, and that is to save 30% of our income. Now that sounds like a lot, because it is, but we are lucky that with both of us working, we're able to do this at this time. 4 months ago, we were not able to do this because for like half a year, I wasn't working. I was at home with like my kids. And so I had supplemental income from YouTube, but I didn't have like a 9-to-5 salary. So I realized how lucky I am, and we we used some of our savings at that time. So now it's really important for us personally to rebuild our like nest egg of like just like our emergency money. So our first step is to rebuild that. Our second step is to try to pay off our mortgage as fast as possible. Again, depending where you are in the world, but I feel like interest rates for mortgages are up everywhere. But ours went up from like 3% to almost 10%. So our payments have almost tripled. So it's really important for us to be able to turn away on that. So with having that in mind of saving that much percentage of our salary, we're like very conscious about grocery shopping. This sort of the one in, one out is also gonna save us from like impulse shopping as well. I'm much more conscious of like when we travel, like where we eat. We barely eat out anymore. Like we don't go out for coffee anymore, etc., etc., or like rarely do we go out for coffee. We just make coffee at home. But there are like little things that we've done and are doing and will continue to do, and maybe build on them as well, so that we have this savings. And that is a mutual goal that me and my husband have. I think 30% is very ambitious. But crunching the numbers and really, really looking at our budget and seeing where we can kind of like tighten our belts, I think it is feasible. And I sort of put a provision that like for the first 6 months, so that we can get this nest egg going, and then after that we can kind of like loosen our belts a little bit and bring it down to 25%. But yeah, it's gonna be a financially interesting year for us, but that's something that is super important for us to do. And the last kind of goal that I thought, it was interesting that I wrote it down, and I just wrote it down without really like, it's not really a SMART goal, it's not, but I wrote it down and I kind of felt better about writing it down, and it was to continue therapy. I've been going to therapy for a few months now, and it has really opened up my eyes in terms of my relationships, my reactions to certain things. It has helped me with certain self-realizations. I used to have to weigh myself every single day. I've stopped doing that, which makes me happy that I don't have a resolution about my weight on here, even more so. So yeah, I feel like therapy has helped me a lot. It is a cost. Talking about costs, it is a financial burden on us, but the pros outweigh the cons for me 100%. My mental health is so important. I feel that in the last 6 months, I've become a better partner, a better mom, a better friend, a better daughter, just a better human overall. And it's maybe therapy isn't for everyone. It's just something that I wanted to share with you because I thought it was interesting that I wrote it down, and it's like in my top 10. I wrote it down without even thinking, and then after like after pondering it for a little bit, I was like, I wonder, like, it's not a goal. I didn't think I would stop. So yeah, I just thought I would share that with you because not all goals have to, and all resolutions have to be, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, blah, blah, blah. I just thought, yeah, this might actually help you as well. All right, those are my resolutions for the year. There's like, theoretically, there's like 13 of them, I think. Yeah, there's 13 of them, but they're kind of all over the place. Like, try 75 soft is one, and then try 75 hard is another one. I don't think that should be, they should be separate because I'm just trying them. I don't have to do them. But there they are. I'm wondering what your resolutions are. Are you a resolution person? Are you someone who is goal-oriented like me? Like, do you make a list and check it off, and does it like fill your soul up when you do that? Because that happens to me. I'm just curious about that. I'm curious to know your thoughts also about like how many people decide to go on a diet in January. It's kind of crazy. For me, it is a little bit crazy and unsustainable, and I just, get healthier, yes, but just really be kind to yourselves. And looking at all of my resolutions, that is the sort of main theme that I'm noticing, is that all of them have an element of kindness to me as a mom, as a wife, as a partner, as an employee. I do have a resolution there. Oh, I didn't mention this one. I do have a resolution there about work. It just, I want to like go up a level at work, and I've thought of some steps of how to do that to become like a senior social media manager instead of like a regular social media manager. So I just need to check with my boss if it is doable or not. But yeah, like, I feel like resolutions are my thing, and I like them, and I like goals. And I wonder if you're that way too. If you found this like video helpful, if you think that it was interesting, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to share it. I'm so happy that you are on my channel. I'm so thankful that you took this like 20 minutes out of your day to spend it with me. Thank you so much. And as always, I wish you just a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.